How many people are actually millionaires? It's a question that seems simple at first glance, but the answer is far from what most people expect. If you go by what you see on social media, you might think the world is full of millionaires. Everywhere you look, someone is showing off a fancy car, a luxurious vacation, or a huge house, and it creates this illusion that wealth is common, that it's just out there for anyone willing to reach for it. The reality, however, is drastically different. Millionaires are rare. In fact, they make up less than 1% of the global population. According to the 2024 Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report, there are about 62 million people in the world with a net worth exceeding $1 million US. That's it. 62 million out of over 8 billion people. And when you break that down, it becomes painfully clear how unusual wealth actually is. Even more striking is how concentrated that wealth is. The United States alone is home to nearly 23 million millionaires. That means over a third of the world's millionaires live in the U.S., even though Americans make up only about 4% of the global population. Europe follows, with Germany, France, and the UK accounting for millions more, while Asia, with China and Japan leading the way, is slowly catching up. In contrast, the rest of the world, including much of Africa, South America, and parts of Asia, contains very few millionaires. Geography matters. Where you are born and live significantly affects your probability of becoming wealthy, and ignoring this is a mistake most financial advice never confronts. Now, if you think these millionaires mostly inherited their wealth, you'd be wrong. The vast majority are self-made. Studies, including those from Fidelity Investments, consistently show that around 88% of millionaires did not inherit their fortune. They built it themselves. This is crucial because it shatters the myth that wealth is reserved for those born into it. Becoming a millionaire is not a lottery ticket. It is the product of deliberate action over many years. Self-made millionaires achieve this primarily through three paths: disciplined investing, entrepreneurship, and smart money management. Investing is not about getting rich overnight, but about consistently putting money into assets like stocks, real estate, and retirement accounts, and letting compound interest do its work over decades. Entrepreneurship is another major factor. Starting and growing a business is still one of the fastest ways to create substantial wealth. Finally, frugality plays a surprisingly large role. Millionaires often live below their means. They avoid lifestyle inflation, spend thoughtfully, and save aggressively. While the world assumes wealth is about spending extravagantly, it is often defined by the ability to control expenses while steadily increasing assets. Here's something most people don't realize. Many millionaires don't look or behave like what we imagine. They don't drive Lamborghinis, wear designer clothes every day, or flaunt their net worth on social media. In fact, many millionaires are practically invisible. They live normal lives, focusing on investments, business growth, and long-term financial planning, rather than seeking attention. This is partly why the perception of wealth is skewed. When you scroll through Instagram or TikTok, you see curated lifestyles that are often temporary, leveraged, or even financed by debt. Real wealth, the kind that keeps growing quietly, is often invisible.
Another counterintuitive fact is that wealth is generally built slowly. The median age of self-made millionaires in the U.S. is around 62 years old. That means most people do not achieve millionaire status in their 20s or 30s. Instead, they spend decades growing their net worth through consistent investment, saving, and business development. Instant success is rare. Most millionaires accumulate their fortune gradually, methodically, and with patience, a truth that conflicts with the cultural obsession with quick success. So, what does all this mean for the average person? First, it tells us that becoming a millionaire is statistically difficult. Following the typical life path, working a single job, spending as you earn, and hoping for luck, will almost certainly not get you there. To increase your odds, you need to think strategically. Start investing early to leverage compound interest. Build multiple streams of income rather than relying on a single paycheck. Control lifestyle inflation so that your expenses do not grow as quickly as your income. And most importantly, educate yourself about money. Understand investing, taxes, real estate, and business. Knowledge is leverage, and it can dramatically increase your chances of creating wealth. Beyond numbers and strategies, there is a mindset component. Millionaires think differently. They are willing to take calculated risks, delay gratification, and focus on long-term results rather than short-term pleasures. They are disciplined and strategic, often planning decades ahead. And this mindset, more than anything else, separates the wealthy from the majority of people who never reach seven figures. It is not luck that makes someone a millionaire. It is consistent action, informed decision-making, and a relentless focus on growth. The surprising reality is that wealth is rare, concentrated, and largely invisible. True millionaires are not the people flashing their luxury online. They are the disciplined investors, entrepreneurs, and savers quietly building their net worth over decades. And understanding this reality is critical for anyone who wants to actually become wealthy. It's a harsh truth. Less than 1% of people reach this level of financial security, and most of them do so only after decades of smart, patient, and sometimes boring financial behavior. So, the next time you think wealth is common or easy, remember the numbers. The truth is stark, and the implications are profound. If you want to join the ranks of millionaires, you need to abandon myths, embrace discipline, and focus relentlessly on building real, lasting wealth. Social media illusions and get-rich-quick fantasies will not get you there. Only strategic action over time will. Millionaires are not born, they are made. One smart decision at a time, over years, often decades, and with a mindset that most people never adopt. And that is the real story of how many people are actually millionaires.
The truth is, very few people will ever become millionaires. And it's not because they can't, it's because they never commit. They want results without patience, success without sacrifice, freedom without discipline. But wealth doesn't work that way. It rewards consistency, not excuses. Most people quit when it gets boring. Millionaires keep going when it gets boring. They stay invested when everyone else panics. They save when everyone else spends. They think decades ahead while others think about the weekend. So when you hear that only a small fraction of the world ever reaches millionaire status, don't take it as bad news. Take it as motivation. Because the path is open. It's just hard, and that's why so few walk it. Real wealth isn't loud. It's not on social media. It's built quietly, steadily, by people who don't chase attention. They chase results. If you want to be part of that 1%, stop waiting for luck. Start building. Every smart decision compounds. Every dollar invested grows. Every year of discipline brings you closer. Because in the end, the difference between dreamers and millionaires is simple. Millionaires didn't just want it, they worked for it.